Oliver didn't knock. It was his parents' house, the one he had practically paid for, and he was supposed to be home for Christmas as promised as always. But as he pushed open the front door, something felt wrong. The warmth and cheer he expected were nowhere to be found. The Christmas tree stood awkwardly lit in the corner, its cheap plastic star blinking weakly as if trying to apologize. But the silence inside the house was thick. No laughter, no rustling of wrapping paper, no smell of cinnamon cookies or burnt ging. "Hello. In here, sweetheart," came a soft and tired voice from the kitchen. He turned the corner, and there she was. Grandmother Eleanor sat alone at the table, wrapped in a knitted purple sweater, her hair thinned into wispy silver clouds, her hands trembling slightly as she nudged a piece of cold stuffing on her plate. The rest of the table was bare. No candles, no centerpiece, just a half-eaten ham and a forgotten glass of orange juice. "Where is everyone?" Oliver asked, blinking hard, already suspecting the answer. She didn't reply immediately. Instead, she gave him a sad, toothless smile and slid a folded piece of paper across the table. It wasn't even in an envelope, just a torn sheet of notebook paper with his name written in thick, hurried ink. He picked it up. "Spent your 8,500 loan on a family cruise. Sorry, take care of grandmother while we're gone. Love, Mum." He stared at it. His eyes traced the words over and over, but his brain stopped functioning somewhere around loan and cruise. That money, his money, was for dental surgery, the surgery he'd been saving for over a year. Night shifts, freelance gigs, driving Uber on weekends, skipping meals and sleep, all of it gone. Grandmother Eleanor watched him carefully like a soldier staring at a minefield. I guess they didn't think you'd mind," she said softly, folding a napkin between her fingers. "They left yesterday." Oliver sat down hard. The kitchen chair felt colder than the room. "No warning," he whispered. "No call, just took the money and left you here." Eleanor gave a dry little laugh, brittle and hollow. "Oh, honey, you know they only call when they want something." He didn't respond, his fists clenched beneath the table, his jaw tightened. This wasn't new, it was just louder now. She reached across the table, her hand brushing his knuckles. "We'll fix this." He said nothing, but something inside him, something warm and foolish cracked, and something colder began to grow. That night, Grandmother Eleanor went to bed early. "My hips can't take much more waiting," she said with a tired smile. She kissed him on the cheek and patted his arm. "You always were the only one who stayed kind." And then she limped off, shuffling gently down the hallway, the same limp she got after falling down the stairs 2 winters ago, the fall no one else ever helped her recover from. Oliver stayed up. No lights, no television, just the note sitting on the table like a curse, his phone in his hand. The group chat open, not a single Merry Christmas. Just silence. He scrolled up. The last message from his mother was from November. "Don't forget to transfer the loan to your father's account. We need to book before the prices jump. We'll pay you back by February latest. You can always reschedule your dental thing." Reschedule. Dental thing. Like it was nothing. He remembered all the other times. When they needed help with William's school fees, he nodded. When Dad's gambling debt hit again, he nodded. When Charlotte needed rent after quitting another job, he nodded. Always nodded. Because if he didn't, he was ungrateful, selfish, because after everything we've done for you, he owed them. He remembered being 17, refusing to lie for William after he stole grandmother's painkillers. They kicked him out for that. Said he was dramatic, said he made things worse. They didn't show up to his college graduation, too busy, helping Charlotte move into her boyfriend's place. They forgot his birthday 3 years in a row, but when it came to money, suddenly he was family again. The next morning, Oliver had answers. They weren't just on a cruise, they were on the majestic Aurora, a luxury liner sailing the Caribbean for 10 days. Suite deck, infinity pool, private butler, gourmet food. 3,000 per person, 4 of them. He knew because Charlotte had posted a photo on Instagram. They must have forgotten to block him. All 4 of them in bathrobes, champagne flutes in hand, smiling at sunset. The caption, "Finally some peace away from all the leeches and negativity." Leeches? Oliver laughed out loud. It was sharp, humorless. They'd used his money-left grandmother with frozen beans and called him the leech. That was the moment. The last wire inside him snapped, not with rage, not with sorrow, but with clarity. He wasn't angry, he was done. That evening, Grandmother Eleanor found him in the garage, hunched over his father's old filing cabinet, surrounded by dusty folders and loose receipts. She didn't ask what he was doing. "I need to know everything," he told her. "Where the money went, what they did, who helped them." She sat down beside him and pulled out a faded notebook from her knitting bag. "Let's start with 2016, she said. "That's when your mother first took my pension login. By midnight, they had a list. By the next day, they had a plan." Oliver didn't know it yet, but he was about to do what no one else in the family had ever dared. He was going to hold them accountable. The sky was overcast the day they returned. Like even the weather had the decency to be ashamed. Their laughter arrived before they did, echoing from the driveway like a parade of oblivious royalty. Oliver stood in the living room, arms crossed, waiting. His fingers didn't shake. His heart didn't race. He wasn't afraid. He was ready. Charlotte was first through the door, dragging a glittering designer suitcase behind her hair. Braided intricately nails painted a sparkling coral pink. She paused, wrinkling her nose. "I am so glad to be back. That last dinner on the ship gave me hives." Behind her, Margaret swept in as mother dressed like a wealthy widow in mourning, sunglasses still on indoors, a silk scarf around her neck. "Did you even clean up a little?" she asked sharply, stepping over Grandmother Eleanor's shawl like it was trash. His father followed, red-faced and bloated from 10 days of buffets, grunting at the sight of Oliver. "Oh, you're still here." William stumbled in last, ignoring Eleanor, completely dropping his bag with a thud and collapsing on the couch like it owed him something. Oliver didn't speak, not yet. He waited until they were all inside, until Charlotte plugged her phone charger into the wall and William grabbed the remote, until his mother was peering into the fridge, nose curled in disgust. "There's still ham," she said. "Didn't you cook anything fresh?" "It's the one you left," Oliver replied calmly. "Still plenty of it." William laughed. "You're still on that dude, just order takeout. It's not like you're broke." That was it. Oliver stood slowly. "I'm glad you're all here. Sit down." They exchanged glances, rolling their eyes. Charlotte mumbled something about catching up on emails, but he didn't move. His voice didn't shake. "I said sit." And something in his tone, calm, cold, final made them obey. Oliver turned the laptop around. One click, one file. The screen lit up with a spreadsheet. At first glance, it was just numbers. But then the color coding came into view. Yellow for pension withdrawals. Red for transfers to unrecognized accounts. Green for emergency expenses that turned out to be Sephora Uber Eats and Charlotte's Apple Pay history. "Where did you get this?" Margaret snapped. "From the bank," Oliver replied. "You should have been more careful using someone else's password." Click. Next slide screenshots. Transaction locations, timestamps, ATM withdrawals at gas stations his father always stopped at, pension access from Margaret's phone, emails. "Cruise deposit should go through today. He trusts us too much," Margaret had written. "He's a softie," Charlotte replied. "Plus, who leaves Grandma alone on Christmas anyway?" Click. A voice recording. Sophia, William's wife, crying on Oliver's porch 2 nights ago. "I didn't want to go. I begged him. William said if Oliver didn't give the money, they'd just leave her and deal with it later. I only stayed quiet because he said it would all blow over. I'm sorry. I couldn't take it anymore." William leapt to his feet. "You recorded my wife? That's illegal." "She asked me to," Oliver replied. "She said she was tired of lying for you, tired of watching you bleed people dry." Their father stood up next, his face purple. "You little snake, you've been digging into our accounts." "Like someone who's done being robbed," Oliver said, eyes level. He opened one final tab, an email pre-written. The subject line, "Formal report of elder financial abuse." Evidence attached. It was addressed to the Social Security Fraud Division, Eleanor's attorney, the local ombudsman, and 2 news outlets. "You have 48 hours, Oliver said, "to return every penny, or I send this, all of it." The silence was volcanic. Charlotte's voice cracked first. "You're bluffing. You wouldn't ruin your own family." "No," Oliver replied. "You ruined yourselves. I'm just sending the bill." And that was when Eleanor stood. She hadn't spoken since they arrived, but now she walked slowly to the head of the table, placed her hand firmly on the back of the chair, and looked each of them in the eye. "I raised 3 of you, fed you, changed your diapers, protected you, and when I couldn't walk anymore, you left me with frozen beans and mouldy pie while you sipped champagne on stolen money." She leaned closer. "You're lucky it's him coming after you, because if it were me alone..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Their father muttered something under his breath and stormed out the back door. Charlotte burst into tears and lunged toward Eleanor for a hug. She turned away. William just stared at Oliver, cold, spiteful. "You're not family anymore," Oliver smiled. "No, I'm finally free." They thought he wouldn't follow through, that he was bluffing. Even after the email, even after Eleanor's rage, they thought they could outlast him, manipulate him like always. But that version of Oliver, the one who nodded and paid and stayed quiet, he was gone. That man died the day they used his 8 and 500 for pina coladas and shrimp cocktail. The first day after the confrontation, the house was quiet. Not tense, not fearful, clean, still. He and Eleanor ate oatmeal for dinner, took turns checking the bank account. Nothing. The second day, Oliver clicked send. Every file, every screenshot, every timestamp. The response came at 6:13 p.m. "Thank you for your submission. A case has been opened." Day 3, the world ignited. William panicked first. 12 missed calls. Texts filled with desperation. "We didn't mean it like that. You're going to destroy your own family over some money. This isn't who you are." Margaret sent her classic guilt trip. "You're being emotional. Please take the post down. We'll talk." Oliver didn't reply. He forwarded the messages to Natalie, his attorney, who read them like a surgeon prepping for surgery. She was already working with Eleanor's legal team. By noon, formal letters of intent were sent to all parties. Charges: elder abuse, pension fraud, misappropriation of family loans. Total owed with interest, 14,322.85. That night, Margaret showed up at the door. No makeup, hair limp, face pale. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Only if you brought a checkbook," Oliver replied. She handed over an envelope. Inside, a cashier's check for 8,500. "No interest?" he asked. "You're lucky to get this," she snapped. "We're being destroyed by the mess you created. You're turning your back on your own mother." "No," Oliver said, stepping outside and closing the door behind him. "I'm finally turning my back on a thief." Charlotte was next. She called from her office phone, sobbing. "The article is viral. I'm being fired. Do you know what you've done?" "Returned the favor," Oliver said. "Now pay your share." She did. 4 installments, each with proof of payment. No shortcuts, no excuses. Then came William. At first, he was defiant. "My boss doesn't care. It's all fake. You're pathetic." But when Sophia filed for separation, that changed. She left him, took the kids, called Oliver from her sister's place. "I'm sorry it took me this long," she said softly. but I've seen who he really is now. Need help finding a place? Oliver asked. Only if there are no strings attached. Then yes, because you did the right thing. 2 days later, William arrived at the house, unshaven, hollow-eyed, furious. You're a fool, he hissed. You ruined everything. No, Oliver said, handing him a legal document. You did. It was a garnishment order, wages, assets, the works. William tried to tear it up on the porch. Pay every penny, Oliver said calmly, or we freeze your accounts. I'm not bluffing. By the end of the second week, the money was back. 8,500 from his parents, 300 from Charlotte with interest, 2,700 from William after borrowing from his own boss. Total 14,300 and change. Oliver used 3,000 to get his dental surgery, another 2,000 to buy Eleanor a lift chair and hire a home nurse. The rest went into a locked interest-bearing account in Eleanor's name. Only she and Oliver could access it. When he showed her the papers, she cried. They took everything from me, she whispered. They didn't take me, he replied. And just like that, Oliver had won. Not just the money, not just the legal war. He had won himself back. The silence felt different now. Not the heavy silence of shame, not the breath-holding silence of being overlooked, but the kind of quiet that made Oliver feel cleared out, like an infection finally removed. For the first time in years, the house didn't hum with tension. No one barged in, no one demanded money. The kettle boiled gently on the stove. Grandmother Eleanor sat by the window crocheting something pink and complicated, and Oliver slept, really slept. Not the restless naps between freelance gigs, or the shallow dozing on buses after a night shift. He slept with the lights off the phone on silent, and the knowledge that no one could take anything more from him. He'd won, but the world didn't go quiet. His family predictably couldn't stand losing the narrative. Charlotte was the first to attempt rewriting the past. She posted a photo of herself lighting a candle at church, with a caption, "Some people don't understand what forgiveness means." Margaret followed suit, whispering into the ears of distant relatives that Oliver had manipulated Eleanor in her old age. She left out the part where she used Eleanor's pension to cover her plastic surgery debt and luxury cruise spending. William went full delusional. He posted a TikTok with audio from Succession, pretending he was the betrayed heir to a broken empire. His caption, "Some people would rather see you fall than rise with you." Oliver read it and laughed so hard he dropped his coffee. "Rise with you. You tried to burn me alive and dance in the ashes." They thought they could still control the story, but Oliver had the receipts, and more importantly, the public had seen them. The article, "Family Steals Disabled Grandmother's Pension, Abandons Her at Christmas Grandson Fights Back," had gone viral, 42,000 shares and counting, and the internet had opinions. Mum tried starting a YouTube cooking channel, Cozy Kitchen with Margaret. The first video had a simple stew recipe. The first comment had more spice than her dish. "Did you pay for that oven with stolen retirement funds?" She deleted the channel within 48 hours. William tried applying for a new job. He didn't make it past the background check. The pending garnishment order was flagged immediately. Oops. Charlotte disappeared from social media for a month. Then she reappeared under a new Instagram handle, @SeeLife. She posted yoga pictures and inspirational quotes, claimed she was cutting out toxic people. That was hilarious considering she hadn't cut Oliver out, he had exiled her. Meanwhile, Oliver moved into a modest new apartment, 1 bedroom for him, 1 for grandmother Eleanor. Everything was second-hand, but chosen with care. The couch didn't sag in the middle. The fridge didn't buzz like a dying wasp. The curtains were sunflower yellow, and Eleanor's new lift chair sat like a throne in the living room. She called her bedroom the fort. She filled it with old photos, her 1993 crochet blanket, and a shelf of dusty mystery novels. Oliver found her one afternoon, pretending to interrogate a stuffed cat with a magnifying glass. When he asked what she was doing, she said, "Practicing justice." He didn't argue. A few weeks later, Eleanor knocked on his door. She looked unusually serious. "I have a question," she said, settling slowly on the edge of his bed. "That day, the note, when they left me here and took your money, why didn't you leave too?" Oliver thought for a moment. "Because I remembered who I was before they made me forget." She looked at him a long time, then nodded. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart." And that broke something in him, something tender, something that hurt more than any insult ever could. Because she meant it, and no one in that family ever had, not once. Life didn't magically become easy, but it became honest. Oliver quit his draining job. He took a remote contract that paid better and gave him his time back. He and Eleanor began a Sunday tradition diner breakfast at a rundown place with cracked leather booths and the worst coffee in the state. "I missed this," she said one morning, dipping her fries in her milkshake. "You mean your arteries missed this?" She shrugged. "I'd rather die laughing with you than choking on cruise shrimp with those snakes." Fair enough. Even peace had its ghost though. They didn't call anymore, but they talked. Oh, they talked. At the pharmacy, Oliver heard someone whisper his name. At the post office, a woman stared too long. But he didn't hide. He held his head higher. Then one ordinary Thursday at the grocery store, it happened. He was pushing Eleanor's cart through the soup aisle, cans of tomato, lentil and chicken noodle clinking softly, when a woman approached. Older, elegant, with the kind of poise that suggested both kindness and heartbreak. "Excuse me," she said, her voice gentle. "Are you the one from the article?" Oliver blinked. I guess, yeah." She looked from him to Eleanor and back again. Her eyes welled up. "I just wanted to say thank you for standing up, for not staying quiet. My mother, something similar happened to her, but no one fought for her. I wish someone had." She touched his arm briefly. Then she walked away. Eleanor reached for a can of soup, her hand trembling. She blinked several times. "I didn't think anyone saw us," she whispered. "They do now," Oliver said. And that was when he knew it had never just been about money or even revenge. It had always been about something deeper: truth, dignity, the right to exist without being exploited by the very people who claim to love you. And Oliver, he was done explaining himself. He no longer needed to shout. The truth had already made its way into the world, and it dragged their names behind it like a garbage bag split open in the street, contents spilling out for all to see. Sophia called one afternoon. She sounded lighter. Her voice didn't shake. "I'm taking night classes," she said, "getting certified, starting something of my own." "That's amazing," Oliver said. "I didn't know I could live like this," she added. "Without being afraid of what he'll do next. You gave me that." He didn't know what to say. "You changed more than your own life," she told him softly. "You made space for others to breathe." Maybe for the first time, Oliver believed it. So, here's the ending. You want to know? What happened to the family? They destroyed their own name trying to bury his. You want to know what happened to Oliver? He stopped waiting for them to call him family, and he started building one with the people who never made him beg for love. Now he sleeps peacefully with all the lights off, because he's no longer afraid of what they'll take next. They took 8th and 500, but he took back his life, and this time they can't steal it.